Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Rugby Paper Roundup. I'm your host, Charlie. I'm joined by Cam as always. Cam, how you doing?
Very good. Looking forward to this weekend. Biggest rivalry in rugby at Eden Park. It should be it's a stacked weekend outside of that anyway, but that's the headline. Obviously, it should be a good one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Eden Park, obviously All Blacks haven't lost there since 1994. Haven't lost against the Springboks since 1937 there. And yeah, it's for one that going into the tournament, everyone was saying this is going to be the game that decides it. And although both teams obviously have slipped up, it still looks like it is going to be the one that decides it. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on kind of how you think the game's going to pan out?
Well, firstly, I'm just so glad that Scott Robertson picked to have this game there. It's just lined up so perfectly, obviously, with Savia's 100th cap as well. And
Yeah,
as you said, both teams have lost the game, so it's a pretty massive one in terms of the championship. It's going to be tough. Both sides have injuries, obviously. I mean, South Africa more so. We were saying just before about their troubles at number 8. Obviously, Khaleesi's back and not captaining the side. He wasn't due to play. It wasn't due to start, at least in this game. But Jean-Luc Dupree pulled up in training, so now he's got to brave it out. And I think he'll only get sort of 40, 45 minutes if he can even get through that. So there's a lot of injury concerns, but it's still All Black Springboks at the end of the day. It's going to be very, very tight. Every time you say that record, you obviously hear it all the time.
Yeah.
That Eden Park record, was it 50 games in a row now unbeaten there? It's still baffling. It's sort of part of me that wants it to just never die and just always be the sort of fortress until England go there eventually and break it. But they've got a good chance of Springboks. We know they love these big games and they've got enough experience and talent in there to do it. And New Zealand have their injury troubles as well, particularly at 9. So it's going to be a cracker.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, in recent years, it's always been pretty even. But in recent years, I'd say the Springboks have had the better of the All Blacks, especially in the bigger games. So I'd say if they go into this, I wouldn't say as favourites, obviously, but they will go into it, like you say, with a lot of confidence. And yeah, they'll think that they can get a result here, especially obviously with Rassie. He's never going to take a defeat for an answer, is he? But yeah, I'm interested to see how they play as well, whether they change things up or whether they go a bit more standard to what we see from them. Because yeah, I don't know.
I can't really see them mixing it up too much, to be honest. They know how they play better than any other side of the world, and they will default to that, particularly with injuries. I remember Rassie saying in the week in one of his press conferences that we might have to sort of play more expansive because that's the way the All Blacks play. But I think it's just smoke and mirrors. They're going to play the way they always play. Obviously, a big part of that, which they don't have this week, is the bomb squad and the 6-2 split. They've obviously gone 5-3, and they're a bit light in the front row on the bench with Boan Venter at replacement loosehead. So they might have to adapt slightly in that way, but I can't see them going away from heavy kicking game, power game, taking the points on offer. It's going to be very interesting because the All Blacks are very beatable, right? You saw that in the last round in Argentina. They're very beatable. They're a side that still have a lot of new players trying to acclimatise themselves to this All Blacks setup. Simon Parker, Billy Proctor, Finlay Christie's obviously starting. He's been there a while, but not in this starting role very often. So it's going to be very, very interesting, some of the dynamics. I think South Africa are the better team.
Yeah.
But it's just that Eden Park factor, right?
Yeah.
It's such a massive swing to have. And yeah, as I said, I'm so glad we've got this game.
Yeah, because like you say, you do look at the teams on paper, and the All Blacks are obviously the All Blacks, and they're always going to be good. But yeah, like you say, I think the Springboks are quite a bit better than them, really. If you look man for man, I'm kind of doing it in my head at the minute. You're probably looking at maybe like 9-6 split in favour of the Boks if you're doing a like position by position, or off the top of my head, but something like that. Which, yeah, is. But but yeah, like you said, it's such a hard one to call because there's the Eden Park, but then there's the man for man. It's which one comes up on top on the day, and
Yeah.
you've got the added Ardy Surveyor 100th cap, so he'll be massively up for it as he always is, and he is obviously one of the best players in the world and one of the form players in the world after the season that he's had in Super Rugby. So yeah, honestly, it's such a hard one to call.
There's so many talking points,
Yeah.
isn't there? There's so many battles in every single position, and there's so many nuances throughout the game. I mean, you mentioned it, Ardy Sarvia. I was going to ask you actually. Obviously, 100th cap. I think 15th Centurion for the All Blacks, something like that. He's only one of 6 All Blacks to ever win World Player of the Year. Where does he rank for you in terms of all-time All Blacks?
Oh, well, I think it potentially goes without saying that he's not number 1, but he's definitely top 5, I would say.
If you have that top bracket of sort of, Carter, McCaw.
I'd say he's kind of the level below Carter and McCaw. I think they're kind of in a league of their own. So, yeah.
So then you've got just below that, who have you got? You probably got like Lomu, Sarvia, Bowden Barrett in that. So is he in that category, or is he
I'd put him in that category.
Okay.
So,
I think I agree with you.
I'd say comfortably top 5, and I think anywhere between 3 and 6, I would say, but I would put him in the top 5.
I also don't think. Well, I do think he can get into that top bracket when it's all said and done. If he leads the All Blacks to a World Cup 2027 and adds another 20, 30 caps on, maybe, and wins another World Player of the Year, he's probably in that sort of top category with McCaw and Carter, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think is 6 players who've won World Player of the Year, and obviously he's one of them. So, I mean, that puts him up there. But yeah, like you say, it goes against him the fact that he's not won a World Cup, whereas obviously the others have. So but then can you base an individual player's quality on the team around them? Because realistically, that All Black side in like the 2010s would have probably won without their key player, really, because it was a stacked team, obviously.
It's one of those things where I agree with you, but once you start having these conversations about all-time players and best ever, it's a factor, right? It just is a factor.
Yeah.
As you say, you can't compare across different teams and things like that, but it's a conversation point when you're trying to, split hairs between some of the best ever.
Yeah, and I think he's massively boosted himself as well with playing for Moana Pacifica this season and basically carrying them, because he has been the main man for them this season. He's shown that he doesn't need to be in necessarily the strongest side, and he can still do the business, because obviously they've had some unbelievable results this season. I'm talking like beating the Blues and stuff like that, and they beat Crusaders. I think they did.
They beat. It was either Crusaders or Hurricanes, wasn't they? They beat another.
It was one of the two. Yeah. But either way, like some unbelievable results that they wouldn't have got anywhere near without him. So he's shown he can lead a team in that sense, which individually for him boosts him a little bit. But yeah, it's such a hard one to call, but he's definitely up there.
That is one of my favourite moves in rugby history. Ardy Sarvia going to Moana and leading them like he has, obviously Super Rugby Player of the Year. It just went so perfectly. Obviously, so much to do with culture, which is why he moved, and linking up with his brother out there. And then some of the results they got, it's just going to springboard such a new side and such an important, part of the world into a new generation, hopefully. He's done wonders. He's just such a good character as well for the game, isn't he? Just one of the most likable blokes in the rugby world. Yeah,
exactly. He's someone you want representing the sport and representing the All Blacks. So yeah, I mean, fair play to him. And there's still a few years left in him as well. So yeah, like you said,
is he 30?
I was going to say 31, but potentially 32.
I'm having a look quick because I want to know if he's. I want to know how old he is coming the next World Cup. So 93 he was born.
He's 31, but turning 32 in October.
Yeah. Okay. So 34, 34 the next World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's still like he won't be over the hill at 34.
He definitely won't be. He definitely won't be.
Yeah, but no, an unbelievable player, and in his 100th cap, you expect him to come out with something, do something unbelievable, play unbelievable, and
biggest game of the year as well. Biggest game of the year, biggest rivalry in the sport. In the perfect place. It's yeah. I mean, if you're a rugby fan and you're not watching that game, then what are you doing? That's the game of the year.
And I mean, lucky for us as well that it's quite a reasonable kickoff time. What is it? 8 o'clock on Saturday? Well, tomorrow.
Saturday.
Because
perfect way to start a weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly. Because sometimes you see the games kind of early in the morning, like the Australia game is. But yeah, it'll be good to get up early or slightly early and watch it.
That Australia game the Australia game's interesting as well. Obviously, it's just so perfectly poised, isn't it? With each team having won one and lost one. There's a massive game up in Townsville as well, which is a pretty rogue location. But
yeah,
that should be a very intriguing one as well. Obviously, Tom Liner back at 10 after. James O'Connor started. Did he start in round one as well? Yeah, I know he started last.
Yeah, I believe he did.
Yeah, he did. So he's back after starting in the Lions series, and Carlo Tizzano back as well. That should be a very interesting one.
Yeah, and I mean it's good as well because one of those teams will go above the loser of the All Blacks game, so that puts them in a completely different position. And given the fact that obviously they'll play each other again, it means that they could almost, or one of the teams could almost establish themselves as at second place, which would be unbelievable for one of Australia or Argentina going into it. If you'd have offered them second place, they'd have took it, obviously.
100%.
So
I really hope we get after this block of 2 games that each side has won 2 and lost 2 going into the last set. That would be incredible.
That would be
I
great.
think it's realistic, right? If South Africa go and win 1 out of 2 in New Zealand and Argentina win 1 out of 2 in Australia, I think that's pretty realistic, and that would set up for a pretty incredible last sort of 2 rounds.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, on the note of the Rugby Championship, I wondered what your predictions were for the 2 games.
I do think that Eden Park factor is just so big in my mind. I think with the Springboks injuries as well, and let's be honest, they haven't been great in the first 2 games either. Against Australia at home, obviously the first one, that historic blown lead that they had, they looked incredible for the first 20 and then looked pretty ordinary after that. Last game they obviously won, but Australia blew some chances at the end. They had that James O'Connor conversion in the 73rd minute that he missed, and that sort of spun things out of control in the last 10 minutes for Australia. But I think the injuries for South Africa and the Eden Park factor would be too much. So I'll go All Blacks by less than a score. And then the Australia game, it's always so tough with Argentina, isn't it? Especially away from home. You just don't. You don't know.
You never know what you're going to get.
You never know what you're going to get. I mean, I'd say they're better on paper than Australia. Would you? They're pretty evenly matched, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's that inconsistency factor. I think Australia would be very happy with their first 2 games, the way they've come out. Obviously, that Lions series as well, which they lost, but could have, some key moments, if they'd changed, they could have won that series. They're in a good spot. Injury-wise, they're okay as well. They got Harry Wilson back, obviously. So I think I'll side with the home team again. I think Australia in a high-scoring game just to outlast Argentina.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on especially the Australia one. I think there's a real positive vibe around Australian rugby at the minute, and it seems like they've got the momentum, even though obviously Argentina did beat New Zealand last time out. So yeah, I'd agree with Australia, but I'm going to be controversial, and you know what I'm going to say? South Africa
world champions. It's controversial to say the world champions are going to
Well, yeah, yeah, true.
You know, in a game of rugby.
Yeah, but records are there to be broken.
I think it's the opinions will be so evenly split, right? It's
Mm.
such a hard game to call. It's one of those games where it's going to come down to one or two key moments and who deals with it better. It's not going to be one of these games where it's decided in the first hour. Even it's going to be decided in the final 20,
Yeah,
and it's
100%.
who manages those key moments better.
Yeah, but when South Africa make it a sort of us against them battle, then I do like them in those kind of games.
Yeah,
So
I mean it's completely fair enough.
yeah,
It would not surprise me at all if they come out on top.
yeah, less than a score though, definitely. But I'll go slightly different and say South Africa by less than a score. But
I
yeah,
like it.
he's
I like it.
yeah on a knife edge though.
It should be. Whatever happens, it's going to be an incredible game.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been built up really well this week. A lot to chat about it. It seems like all the focus is on that game in the morning. Obviously, got lots of action in the afternoon, which we'll get to. But it's set up to be an incredible game.
yeah, and like you mentioned, there an incredible day of rugby as well because obviously there's the Women's World Cup. Not tons at stake because a lot of the teams are already qualified, but then there's the battles for first and second, which will decide who plays who. So there is still a lot at stake, and Pool A is the only one where the second place spot's up for grabs between second and third. So Australia are playing England, who obviously on home soil and almost tournament favourites, and USA are playing Samoa, who have lost quite heavily in the first two games, and yeah, USA need to get a 135 point swing in order to qualify, and obviously hope that Australia lose, which it sounds like a lot, but it is plausible because England did beat America by about 60 points, and Australia beat Samoa by 72 points, I believe it was. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely possible.
It will take a lot, but it's possible. England have the capability to beat Australia by 50 plus. Say they win by 55, then you've got what's the quick maths there? An 80-point swing that the USA need, which is still a massive task. But obviously Samoa have had their struggles. England beat them by 89, didn't they? So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Do you know who plays first?
I believe it's the USA play first, so they've got the chance to put the pressure on. I think if they get sort of maybe a 75 plus point win, that'll kind of
England,
yeah, and then maybe a shaky start from Australia. Red Roses get a couple of early tries, bit of panic potentially sets in.
Yeah, potentially.
But it'll be exciting to see if that happens because that would be one of the biggest point swings in terms of qualification, and it is somewhat realistic.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. It goes back to that game of the tournament so far, that Australia-USA 31-all draw. If someone had managed to nick a win there, it completely changes the outlook of the tournament. As you say, there's not much going on in terms of jeopardy elsewhere, but still a good chance for sides to prepare themselves one last time before the quarterfinals. Obviously, South Africa top of the group. They made an interesting decision actually, haven't they? Again, they're against France, but they've rotated fairly heavily. In prep for the quarterfinals, sort of not conceding first place, but not giving it their best chance to go top of the pool against France. But yeah, I mean, as you said earlier, it's still all set up for England to win it all on home soil. They've looked untouchable the first two games, really, and it's looked that way for the past few years, and I don't really see that changing. It's set up in my mind for an England-New Zealand final at Twickenham to break the record as well, hopefully, in terms of crowd numbers and eyes on the game.
Yeah, no, that is what everyone's sort of hoping for, I feel like. One thing you mentioned there, South Africa, I believe second place in that pool actually will play New Zealand, assuming New Zealand obviously win their group. So that is interesting that they've opted to rotate and almost guarantee themselves playing against New Zealand,
I
considering.
mean, it's a big task against France, obviously. For
Yeah,
South
no, of course,
Africa.
but
Much newer and much improved. Obviously, had that massive win over Italy last game. Already secure qualification, so it's going to be tough. I guess they're just putting all their eggs in that one basket for that game against New Zealand, which it should be. So again, New Zealand South Africa quarterfinal would be pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. A repeat of the Rugby Championship.
Who's on the other side of the draw then? What sort of quarterfinal matchups would it be? So it'd be New
Well,
Zealand.
I think it's Pool A and Pool B, and then Pool C and Pool D. I'm pretty sure.
Right. Okay.
And like obviously first in one v second in the other, and
yeah.
I'm trying to think which one Pool D is though. I'm just going to quickly.
Yeah, have a look. Because second in New Zealand's pool will be Ireland, won't it? If I'm wrong, so it'll be.
Yeah. So I believe.
So potentially France, Ireland, and then New Zealand, South Africa.
Yeah, and then it'll be England. Well, England, Scotland. It looks like, or Canada.
Yeah.
And then the other one of them playing.
Yeah. Got it.
Australia or America.
But
that's. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Yeah. It's hard to look past a semi-final lineup of England, Canada, France, New Zealand. I mean, I feel like before the tournament started, that's probably what you would have guessed, and it looks like it's going to line up that way. Obviously, a long way to go. Hopefully, there's an upset or two in there, which would be quite cool. But there'll be two great semi-finals as well.
Yeah, no, exactly, and two semi-finals with clear favourites, but then two teams who could challenge them.
Definitely.
It's what you want, really. A bit of jeopardy, but no, it's exciting. And to be honest, it's been a very good watch for Women's World Cup so far. I've tuned into.
Very good watch. It's been some great games, amazing games.
Yeah.
Great crowds in as well. I love sort of spread the tournament as well all across the country. You're picking some spots that usually don't get much rugby love. Obviously Sunderland. Had the tournament open, and there's a few games in York and things like that. It's just been a great tournament so far.
Yeah, no, exactly, and hopefully it continues, and hopefully the game keeps growing.
Yeah, definitely. Just adds to a stacked day of rugby on Saturday. Obviously, top 14 returning as well, which we haven't touched on. But,
not even touched on that, but
it's it's a good day to be sat in front of your TV all day. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, exactly. It'll be very good, and I feel like on that note we should end it there. But no, thank you very much, Cam, for coming on as always, and
Cheers.
stacked weekend of rugby.